Today we're in the propagation area of Succulents Australia and we're looking at Crassula. So this is where the major collection of Crassulas are at Succulents Australia, and as you can see there are literally dozens of varieties. They're different in shape, they're different in form, they're different in growing habit, and we're going to start off with this one here. So James, can you tell us a little bit about this one? Beautiful flowers.
Yeah, this is the actual miniature form of perfoliata. Look, it used to be called falcata because it has falcon-like leaves on it. They're hairy leaves, but superb colour flowers, and really, really showy. A lot of the Crassulas are noted for their insignificant flowers, but this particular one is really extremely showy.
So if we look over here, this is the larger version, is it?
Yeah, this is the large version, but this is the actual very rare one. This is the variegate one, and the normal one, you can see this one here, it's reverted back to green, so we've lost that one. You know, we can propagate it, but it's the variegated ones we're actually after in this batch. And here's another example of some really cute little flowers. That looks like Gandalf to me.
And if we look over here, here's a variegated one.
Yeah, that's a Moonglow variegated.
And where's that one from?
Right, I believe that that's a Japanese variegation or find, and Moonglow is a hybrid, and that's the variegated form of it. There's some variegated forms of quite a few of these, but not a lot. There are quite a few Japanese hybrids here. I can show you a couple of them. This one is Shinra. This one's really rare and really slow to propagate, real fatty, but that's a really excellent Japanese hybrid, that one. Really took a long time to grow, slow. And this one's quite a rare one called Hertbees and hairy. So this is actually very much like an elegans, and it's easy to get them mixed up. Elegans, there are several forms, but what you find with a lot of the Crassulas that are actually species, there are often one or two forms of them where they might be smooth-leaved, hairy-leaved, ones with more colour, a large form or a short form. And elegans, we've got like large growing forms, small forms, purple leaf forms and hairy forms. And forms vary over a large area, so evolution-wise they've formed into other forms that are a little bit different from the other, but they're still the same species, but variations, you know, large, small, might be better conditions, whatever. Sericea, another species, and this, you're going to find this will be where some of these things like Moonglow came from. Moonglow was probably partially a hybrid of this one, and one of the other ones up there that's much, much more compact. So this is probably one of the most well-known Crassulas. It's called Springtime. Noted for its really nice large pink flowers, but really compact form. But in here you'll notice that we've actually been taking cuttings of these, and we have some variegates coming through. This is what I call a variegate box. So what you see is green here. They've actually reverted back to green from variegate forms, but they do keep sprouting variegates. So all the time we have to keep some new variegates to keep them coming on. There's another little hairy elegans at the back there. Now this is one you really wanted to look at actually, this is pyramidalis. There's quite a lot of forms of pyramidalis, and I haven't got them all right in front of me, but again, a really good example, large forms, small forms, and miniature forms. A thinner leaf form, here's another one there. And you can see, when they're starved a bit, they actually get really nice colours. And look how fine those leaves are. That's actually pretty new for us. Right, we got this from Jocelyn Ainsworth. Right, we have this as nudicaulis, and here you see the label. It's from Jocelyn Ainsworth from the USA.
Okay, so that's a hybrid?
No,
it's a
that's
species.
Yeah,
species.
Yeah, nudicaulis form. It's a form of nudicaulis.
Okay.
And we have, over the years, we've collected quite a few rare ones. We should talk about this one too,
okay,
because this is an unknown hybrid that somebody found. It's out there, but nobody knows where it comes from.
Okay. So this is a fairly interesting sort of a form.
Right, this is all the deceptor group. Now, what you have here, deceptors live in an extremely harsh environment, and when you start getting that silver, hairy look on them, that's actually to help resist the sun and reflect the sun so it can survive in more severe heat. And you sort of see the flowers on them, how miniature they are, incredibly tiny. So imagine hybridising these, pollinating those and hoping and gathering the seed that you can hardly see. This is actually an American hybrid, and we only got it a couple of years ago. We imported it actually from the Japanese people, and it's different to the other deceptors, and I'll show you some of the other deceptors we have here in a second. We have probably about 4 or 5 different deceptors. Now, this is my box of deceptors. Now, this is the sort of the classic normal deceptor that most people know, but with several trips overseas, what we've done is we've been able to get a few extra hybrids. Now, this one here we call longhorn. You can see it has a long, pointy, horny leaf. There's sort of a large form of that, which is different again, laying down here. And you've got the classic there. There's also a miniature one here, a really tiny one. And this is what a deceptor should actually look like. This is like the most normal sort of form that people do know. But we did get a really special one from the Little Karoo Gardens. Somebody got this. This is extra large form. You can see how big and beefy it is. Also very slow growing. And here you see also a bit more Shinra being propagated here. You can see where we've cut them off here. Got some extra heads. They're multiplying, and it is slow. And actually, this is one problem you do get with some of the Crassulas, there's a little bit of rot. So if we clean that up, we may have lost that one. But rot is a problem with some of these. These actually have an extra good draining mix in them, all of these.
So this one's called Gandalf?
Yeah, this is one of our own Australian hybrids by Max Holmes. And you can probably see that this has actually come from one of the deceptors possibly, owing to its tightness with something else. And the flowers are much shorter, so it's been crossed with a much more compact plant. Okay, this is Crassula Marnieriana Fantasy, and this you would consider to be one of the stack varieties of things. It could be included into that group. That's not really that right. So normally it's perfoliata, which are called the stack crassulas, but this could be considered one of the smaller miniature versions, but this is the good variegated version.
Right, so similar growth habit, but a different species.
That's correct. This is one of the new Japanese hybrids again, which we seem to favour a lot of them. This is called Daruma Star. Now, this is one of the largest stack ones I've seen. It's a beautiful orange edge on it and sort of textured leaf, and it's quite big growing, and I don't know, it has exceptional colours. There are 3 hybrids like this, but they're all different in variation.
And this one here?
This is one of the great hybrids actually, Ivory Pagoda. And these are young ones. You see young ones coming here, so probably what we'll cut the head off here, get these young ones to come out. It's a bit slow to get started, but once it gets going, it's actually not too bad. So you can see some of these other ones here that look a bit desiccated, they're a bit shriveled. They're okay, but they're just about to get started. Here's some younger, healthy ones here. And these really need dividing up now. And here's the version of elegance that I particularly like. Over the winter months when it gets cold, these leaves are quite smooth, but they actually go really brilliant purple. And you saw a hairy elegance just down the road. This is the smooth leaf version. And this one is one of my favourite ones because it just makes the most beautiful little clump in a pot. This is actually one of my favourites. It took me quite a long time to grow it and bulk it up, but it's all Census Titanopsis. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at the leaves on it.
Amazing little plant.
With little glands on it. Fabulous. Right, this one's a classic and nearly everybody knows it. So this is, we call it pink pagoda, it's a common name, but it's actually capitella, subspecies thyrsiflora, which is quite a big mouthful. And it's funny, when these flower in the winter months, they actually don't smell too good. They're a bit like manure or something like that. So they're not a greatest house plant in winter. There you are, you were looking at the variegated version before of baby's necklace. There's the green version. And now we're going to start getting some stack plants, which are nearly all hybrids. This one's green pagoda. Then you have down here, you've got jade necklace, which is probably a bit of a hybrid of baby's necklace. And then you have jade tower here, John. That's a much taller, growing, more vigorous one. These are small specimens because we keep cutting these back. And to show you a difference in these, this is one of the large leaf, fast, vigorous ones. Look at the back leaves of that one. They're fabulous.
Amazing colour.
Oh, beautiful. But this one's called Purple Dragon. And there's another one of these, I think it's Starly, isn't it, Ko? Yeah, Starly. Much thicker leaf and darker red. So that's a bigger one.
And for something with a really different leaf, this...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's quite... Snake plant is dubbed its name. Yeah, this is one of the muscosa group, which is a smaller growing group, more like a little shrub, this one. But this one just rambles, and yeah, snake plant they call it. That's its nickname. And actually, this is the tiniest of them all. This has got the biggest mouthful of a name you've ever seen. But a lot of people think this is sedum, but it's actually the Crassula. It's called Marginalis Little Missy, and this is a variegated form, and you can get the green form. Looks great in a hanging basket, or just covering a pot.
And another one with brilliant flowers.
Oh, that's a stunner, that one. A lot of people use this as a rockery plant called schmidtii, Crassula schmidtii. Here's another stack plant. This is one I really like, and a little later I'll show you a beautiful hanging basket we have of this one. But look at the flowers before they come out, then when they're out. But this one goes really beautiful purple colours and actually really hangs, so it's quite prostrate. Whereas most of these stack plants are actually upright plants. Forms.
So these are more stacked plants?
Yeah, and you can see they grow a bit taller. So it's a perfoliata variegata, and there's several forms of the variegated we've got. That's a Japanese form there, more pointy leaf, and we have a variegated version of that. There's also a white variegated version and a yellow variegated version. They look more outstanding in winter. Here's a couple more here. There's a large growing one, and larger again. Medium size, and if you like shrubs, this is another one I really do like.
This is an unusual looking one.
Yeah, it's called Crassula Moonglow. It's quite big growing. I wouldn't call it the most popular plant, but it's a really interesting one. It's another one of these Japanese new hybrids. Is rupestris. You can see rupestris. Look, actually that's a natural rupestris here, a particularly dark form of it, and yes, it has a CRR02 number, and yeah, this is a really good dark form of it, but this is the white version, is a hybrid from Japan again. This one, a lot of people really love this because they look so cute. You know, over the summer months, they're often really tight little balls with these hairy lines in here, but now they're just beginning to open up with the autumn rains because we're now in early winter, and it really is a beauty. It is large form again and miniature form. This one's a lovely one. Again, another hybrid, actually called Morgan's Beauty. This has a really large pink flower, really compact on it, not tall, and makes a beautiful clump in a small pot. There is a rare white form of this white flowering form. Rupestris marnieriana, this one. Later we can show you a superb plant of this, extremely tiny and compact. And again, flowers, you can see flowering here. Another one of the Japanese ones. We got Aiboshi. And you see the colour just beginning to form. Now these colours get really strong in strong sunlight or cold winters.
And if we move over here, this is a strange looking plant.
Oh, John, you picked a beauty there. That's one of the muscosa ones, but a rare cristate form, or, you know, contorted crest form.
So it's a crest, and
yeah,
there's been a lot of interest in the video that you did for us earlier on crests.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, that should have been in it.
So there's an addition.
Actually, this one here is a really hot one. This is called High Voltage, and when this goes red on the outside, it really is this brilliant hot red orange, and it's a superb colour. This turned out to be a top seller for us. People love it. We have a couple of good photos on the website. They really do like this one. In Australia, we've always called this sort of a susannae, But on going overseas a bit, we've actually figured out that really is more than likely a hybrid. The susannae they have overseas is a real miniature, really much, much smaller than this. So we've almost come to the conclusion this is a hybrid.
Okay, fairly low growing, is it? Stay like that?
Extremely low growing. We've actually had some specimens, like here's a compact one, and you can put these in a small pot and it'll be good in there for years. See, that specimen here is probably about 3 years old, at least.
So great in a small pot. And,
yeah, it shows off beautifully. Here's a really sought after one. People really like this one. This is called Emerald. It is a hybrid. Again, and you see it just beginning to flower. And this is a mother box, so it throws lots of babies, and we pluck all these babies. Here's a more mature form in a pot. Emerald's really sought after again. It's a small, tight, clumping one. This is a real cutie, and actually I have this as a hanging basket, and it works really well. This is plegmatoides. This is a species. Again, one of the silver forms, really needs a lot of dryness. These forms you should be careful when you water over the winter months, that you allow them to be in an environment where they dry out with the winds blowing or the sun's on, so dry out, because these silver forms actually collect water and you can get rust on the foliage. You get sort of brown marks on them. So drying out is really important.
And I can't resist this one. It's just a really interesting plant.
It's so sort of symmetrical, uniform, neat and compact. They do branch a little bit, but it's hemispherica because the leaf looks like a half hemisphere.
Very appropriate name for this one.
Very appropriate. Right. This is a really slow grower, Marchandi, and this really is a beauty. This is a natural species.
And this one, Crassula arborescens.
Yeah, we don't have many of this one because people more buy the Crassulas of the smaller forms, but that is quite a large growing shrub. You know, grow to nearly 1 metre high, but outside gets a really lovely red margin on and a really good blue look to the leaves. A good outdoor plant.
So when we look at this great range of Crassulas, there are some hybrids here and some are being hybridised in Australia. Can you tell us a little bit about these three?
Yeah, look, a guy called Max Holmes, who lives in South Australia, a really modest and unassuming bloke. He is probably one of the better breeders and has quite a lot of hybrids to his name. So Australia really has been a very good contributor. Things like there's Gandalf, these ones, and these are not well known, these particular ones. Max gave these to me a couple of years ago. This one's Amulet. It's a really cute one, really good flower. We've got Tinkerbell here. Looks reasonably easy to grow, quite vigorous.
This is a nice one.
Oh, it's beautiful. Star Child. Aptly named, I think. It does look like a little star.
It's a lovely little plant.
Yeah, but Max has got probably 8 or 9 hybrids to his name.
Most of these we looked at earlier, but this is how you'd grow them as display plants at home.
Yeah, this is how we display them so that people can see what they actually grow into, what they look like in you know, what they look like as a potted specimen. Marnieriana, isn't it absolutely gorgeous?
It's beautiful.
Covered in flowers.
And this one with the red?
Oh, that's the one we had a look at before. That really is a beauty. There's schmidtii, really lovely red. Even the foliage goes red because this has been potted in a special mix. This is a lot more draining than what we're growing in our pots for selling. So these are starved a lot more, these plants. We don't water them as much and a little bit hungrier. So hence they have more colour and things like that. And Talisman's a beauty. That's a lovely hybrid.
Lovely little plant.
Look at the pink flowers on this one. Not a lot of pink in Crassula, but this is one of the pink hybrids. Now, I'm trying to decide if this is contorted or not, but it is one of the muscosa forms, and it is not contorted. This is sort of, we call this a monstrous form. This one's really quite unusual. So it's not the crest, it's actually the monstrous muscosa. Tecta. Fabulous, and they have the little ball flowers, see there? Tom Thumb, that's a really nice one.
And the
really
foliage,
good fine foliage.
And that changes colour in the winter?
Yeah, it goes beautiful red colours in winter. Probably to see it be better to disbud it and take all these dead flower heads off, but it's a really good one. Yeah, see, that's springtime, and that'll be like a whole pot of colour. In another month, that'll be a whole pot of red, pink. And that's the variegated. It's my first variegated form. Look at that. That's quite a lot of plants. There's actually a fair bit of info on there.
And yes, that was quite a lot of plants. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for regular updates on a whole range of succulents and indeed a whole range of gardening topics. And as always, good luck with your gardening.